Lesson 13, the net. In this lesson, we will continue to learn basic capturing methods. In our last lesson, we learned how to capture in a ladder. So, in this lesson, we will learn the net. Let's look at a shape like this. How should black capture this white stone now? If we use the ladder method we learned before, we'll find this white stone acts as a ladder breaker. Whether black plays Atari from this direction or Atari from this direction, it cannot capture white. So, when a ladder doesn't work in this situation, we need to use another capturing method, which is the net. Okay, black playing at this position is called a net. Let's look at the features of this shape. It looks a bit like a window or like a real net, trapping the white stone inside. As for the shape on both sides, we once learned a shape called smothering capture. Now if white pushes out, black plays Atari, closing it in just like a door. Now this shape is a standard smothering capture. White runs, black captures. So the net, as the name implies, acts just like a trap, firmly blocking the opponent's way out. So this is a net for one stone. Two stones can also be netted, of course. For example, in a shape like this, black plays a net right here. So when white tries to escape outward, it turns into a smothering capture. This is a net against two liberties. A net when the opponent's stones have only two liberties left. Now let's take a look at this shape. Actually, even if there is no stone here, black can still play a net right now. The difference from before is that white now has three liberties. We can try letting white escape. If white escapes like this, black can block it. White runs. Black blocks, runs, blocks again. Okay, capturing all the white stones. If white runs a bit faster, black can push through. So in this same shape, here is a cutting point, and it is an Atari. So white still cannot escape. Therefore, the net, when this white stone faces a shortage of liberties, like this with two liberties, or now it is wider with three liberties, the net will become possible. Of course, net shapes can be quite diverse. For instance, let's make a slight change to the shape. After we make this change to the shape, we see these two white stones only have three liberties. So here we can use the net technique. based on the shape we learned earlier. We need to act like a trap and net the opponent inside. So isn't it exactly this position? It looks like a trap or handcuffs. After I play at this position, white can only push outward now, but when it tries to escape, it will reduce its own liberties and then be captured by black. This kind of net is also our standard net capture. We can continue with more shapes. For example, let's try some very interesting net shapes. Earlier, this stone was placed at this position, so we know black can play a net like this now. White runs, black can block it. If it runs faster, we just push and cut it. It can always be captured. But now, I've placed this stone over here, and actually this net still works. Here we just need to use a more advanced technique called sacrifice and squeeze. This is a topic we will learn later. That is, when it pushing here. On the surface, it is playing Atari on our stone. If we connect, it escapes. But we can, well, after it plays Atari, play Atari from behind to capture it. This is the technique called sacrifice and squeeze. The final shape is called connect and die. This is what we will cover in the upcoming lessons. If white connects, black captures them all. Okay, so this kind of shape can still use a net. Therefore, when the stones are in the center, once they only have 2 or 3 liberties left, we must consider using a net to capture the opponent. Especially when the latter is unfavorable. You must be good at spotting net techniques. Next, we will talk about using the net technique on the edge. For example, let's set up a shape. Okay, here white has a shape like this. Let's pay attention to this shape. If black directly plays Atari on white, let's see the result. Black plays Atari. White makes a solid extension. Okay? Then Atari again, extend again. Atari again and connect. Then we'll find that white has connected, and black's few stones are captured by white instead. So let's try Atari from another direction. If we play Atari from here, it escapes. You Atari again, it escapes. Because white has friendly stones on the outside. So this direct Atari will just drive these 3 white stones toward their friendly stones. Therefore, in this situation, we need to use the net method. Black now plays a jump net, taking the initiative like a trap, confining you, making it hard for white to escape. Now, next, white will try to push outward, attempting to connect back home. But since I played this jump, meaning netting at this position is faster, I can block you. You try to run again. I capture them. And they're all dead. This is the net on the edge. Similarly, we can set up the shape again. For example, a shape like this. There is a black stone here, white stones here. white stones here. This kind of shape is also suitable for a net, because if black plays a normal Atari, it is the same result, driving white toward its connecting stones. Right? Using a ladder doesn't work either. As you Atari, white just goes home and black dies. So here, we still use a net. Now if white runs, black can block it inside. We said you can treat it like handcuffs or treat it like a window, locking it inside. Alright, this is the net on the edge. There is another shape that is also very typical. Let's look at a safe. For example, a shape like this. A shape like this, how do we capture these two stones? Note that here we need to apply something we learned before, which is playing Atari downward. So in a shape like this, we need to use the edge and play downward. So we should net at this position. Let's pay attention here. If black plays the net at this position, right? Sometimes when netting in the center, we stay a bit further away, right? If we stay further away, white has friendly stones nearby now, so white can just connect back, and you have no way to cut it. Here white is playing Atari. When you try to cut, white captures you. So you cannot play at this position now. And then, we also cannot play at this position. Playing here is not a net, because white can also connect along the edge. You can no longer cut it now. This is what we learned, the downward Atari shape, where black gets captured instead. So this doesn't work either. So in this situation, we must use this net position. This net presses white toward the edge, so it cannot escape to the outside, because our net is also like a window or handcuffs. Pushing outward is useless. I play Atari at this position, forming an Atari, right? This white stone is captured by black. And if white runs toward the edge, it is useless, because we said the first line is very dangerous. Running on the first line does not extend liberties. So white is still captured by black. Okay, the edge, everyone, note the second line net. We can place more stones and it is fine. It is still a second line net, which is very common. For example, let's set up 3 white stones. We set up a shape like this. Similarly, black's key point is also at this position. Okay, this is how, when on the edge, to use the net technique. That concludes our explanation for this lesson.